Hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. We are in July. Welcome to July's onX Offroads Masterclass. As you are coming in, a couple housekeeping items, and we will get started here in just a minute. But number one, I cannot see you and I cannot hear you. So, as much as I would love to have a two-way dialogue, that's not happening. So, if you have a question throughout tonight's masterclass, please drop it down below in the Q&A section. We have a team there that is dedicated to answering all of your questions. But for those that are joining us tonight, please let us know where you are tuning in from. I will let you know where I'm tuning in from in just a second. I will keep you guys guessing. But tell us where you're coming in from and what rig you are running. I'm opening up the chat so I can see where you guys are coming. And raise a virtual hand. Let me know if you are surviving the heat wave. I am dying up here where I am. It feels toasty, but I'm curious to see how everyone else is doing out there in the heat. See lots of Arizona. You guys are probably cooking down there. We got some East Coasters, Nashville, North Carolina representing. And let us see what rigs you guys are running. I see a lot of cities, states, but I want to know what rigs are you running? Are you out on two wheels, ripping around on a dirt bike? Are you on four wheels? Let me know where you are, what you are running, what kind of trails you're getting into, and welcome to July's masterclass. We're going to get started in just 1 second. Again, for anyone that has just joined, welcome. We have a dedicated team here who will answer all of your questions. So if you have a question, please drop it in the Q&A chat bubble below. They will get to your questions. If you put the questions in the general chat right now, that's blowing up with rigs and whatnot, it gets really noisy there, and I would worry that your questions will go unanswered. So, welcome. We're going to get started here. We are in July, and I hope your adventures are off to an amazing start for the summer. Tonight, you have myself, Andy Zielinski. I am based in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, so North Idaho, and my rig of choice forever and ever is my 95 Land Cruiser, affectionately named Larry. Was just out on some trails earlier today on a fun little video shoot. More on that later. I cannot wait to uncover what we have cooking. There's some exciting stuff happening. So welcome to tonight's masterclass. What we have on the agenda. So I'm going to do a holistic overview of the app. I'm going to start on desktop, and I'm going to encourage you guys. Normally in school, you're told to put your phone down, don't be distracted, yada, yada, yada. Grab your phone or grab your laptop, flip it up, and open it up. And I want you guys to follow along. That's going to help the learning process. I'm going to try to move slowly, but we only have about 45 minutes together, and I want to cover as much as possible with y'all. And again, if you have a question on something I might have covered, please drop that question into the Q&A. We're also going to go over a couple really important features. So there'll be an overview of the product and then a couple feature deep dives where I'm going to pull up my mobile phone and you guys can look around to see how the phone is oriented, how to use the product in the field, and then for the faithful followers that stick around to the end, there will be a giveaway. So, without further ado, let's get over into the map. So, give me a thumbs up from the crowd. Let me know if you can see the map. I'm pretty sure you can, but just let me know if you can see the map. Yep, got a thumbs up. Thank you, Drew. Okay, so I'm going to kind of work my way from the left of this screen in this toolbar or menu bar, as well as this activity selector. I'm going to work my way from that side over to the other side of the map, and I'll cover off a couple of the key features. So, number one, just for point of clarity, if you are on your phone, and apologies, this will be easier to see. Actually, let me just do this real quickly right now. You will be able to follow along on the mobile. Down here, you can see the menu bar down below. That menu bar, Discover Offline Maps, that's what you're going to be seeing on the left-hand side of the web map. So just so you guys can follow along, you're like, oh, Andy, well, what are you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. And so going back to the activity menu. This is a really great way to kind of get yourself acquainted with the map as a whole. So let's just start by tapping where it says dirt. And this is going to open up where you can begin filtering your map based on ride type. Okay, so if I select trail type all, as you can see right now, I have full width roads selected. I am going to deselect that and I'm going to select all. And now you're going to see the map populate with a ton more trails. Basically, what that is recognizing is it's recognizing and pulling in single track, 50-inch or 60-inch for you side-by-siders. And then for the full size rigs like my Land Cruiser, it also is displaying that as well. For the sake of the demonstration, I am going to focus on full width roads and high clearance 4x4, since that's what I primarily am out recreating with. So I'm going to select that, and it's going to pare down my map so I can see the trails that matter to me. And then from there, you can also filter by difficulty level. This is a relatively new feature, something that we have been asked from our off-roaders for a long time, is help me just organize the map so I can see the trails that kind of matter more to me. So if I am just wanting to go and rip on a trail that's easy and I can have a fun day out there, let me select that. But if I'm wanting something a little bit more intense, help me find that as well. So I'm gonna select all for the sake of the demonstration. And we can see now that the map got even more populated. Now, one thing I want to just point out, and I'm going to zoom down here real quickly, is if you can scroll down to what you see, the map legend, simply tap the map legend, and then all of a sudden you can now recognize, okay, our maps are, or our, excuse me, our trails are color coded by difficulty. So let's zoom out just a little bit here, and you can start to see blue trails, green trails. There's not a lot of black trails up by me that are super, super intense. But as you can see, we have them rated by difficulty. And one thing that's really important to know is that these trails are ran by a hired group of individuals called trail guides. The trail guide program, effectively, we have trail guides all over the United States who are running these trails in their rigs or on their dirt bikes or side by sides. And they're mapping out the trail to really begin to articulate the different complexities and nuances of the trail. So when you get to the trail or you select a trail, the information that you're looking for is going to be presented to you in a very clear and understandable way. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just 1 second. But before we get there, we're going to scroll down and you can continue to filter out your trails based on trail length, the total time that you think you might be out on the trail, so on and so forth. I am going to save, so please kind of bookmark this. I'm going to save the private lands and active wildfire layers for just a few minutes later. I will get into those, I promise. But right now, I want to simply talk about trails. So let's go back up here and I'm going to select both moderate and easy in my high clearance 4x4. And I'm going to simply press done down here, this big orange button, and boom. You can see I have a lot of waypoints. I'll get into that in a second as well. But let's go ahead and zoom closer into a trail I was on earlier today. So I'm here in the North Idaho Panhandle, and I have some buddies out here actually right now, and we're doing a fun project. Like I said, you will get to learn about this fun project in the coming months. But we were out scouting some trails and trying to find an opportunity for a fun little video project. And so we pulled up this Discover tab. I'm going to focus on this section right here now, this toolbar. We pulled up this Discover tab, boom. And now these trails are all populating that are near my region. And they pull in within about a 20 to 50 mile radius, depending. And so you can start to see here are some fun trails that look like a great time. I'm going to simply select Beauty Bay, see what Beauty Bay is all about. And as it's loading, you can see now that there's some really important information to help the user understand what kind of information might be presented from the trail and from the trail guide's perspective on the trail card. First and foremost, you will see a trail report at the top of the card. In some cases, a trail may not have a trail report, which simply will say add a report here. I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but this trail report, someone was just on this trail July 5th, marked it as open. I can confirm because I was out there, and yes, it is in fact open. The total distance, about 12 miles. The difficulty rating, easy. I can confirm it is easy. Technical rating, 1. So now, as someone who might be either A, new to an area, or B, simply looking for a new trail to run, a lot of great information is presented at a quick glance to know if that's the right trail for you. Also, if you scroll down, okay, the route type, point to point, or it's an out and back, depending on how you want to run it, the best times, and then who submitted the trail report. And I gotta give a shout out to Daryl. He's my next door neighbor. He is faithfully out there mapping the trails in the Panhandle. So if you're in the Panhandle area, please give a shout out to Daryl. I'm sure he would appreciate it. Anyway, so he's ran the trail, he's provided the description, and you can click on the description to see kind of like from his point of view what this trail has to offer, and then photos to sort of give a visual reference as to what you can expect on the trail at what point. He rated this as a 1 on the difficulty scale. Again, I would agree. This is in fact a 1. You can see the type of rig he was in when he was mapping the trail. So that way it's another visual cue or reference for you who wants to get on the trail. Considering, is my rig going to be capable for this trail? The answer, probably yes, depending if your rig matches up to the type of rig ran by the trail guide. And then simple elevation, getting there, other activities. And then as you scroll down, there will be more trails that populate down below. I'm going to zoom back up now to the trail reports. This is a really, really important feature that helps the community stay informed on the status of the trails. As we know, weather can have a huge impact on trails. Rigs can have a huge impact on trails. And trails, they're living and breathing. So while we might assume that the trail was the same it was a few months ago, something could have happened between then and now. The trail report simply allows you to have the opportunity to get in a little bit deeper to understand what the trail condition actually is. If you've ran the trail, I would really encourage you guys. There's about 530 folks on this call. I would love to see 530 new trail reports this next weekend. Can you guys give me a virtual thumbs up that you will commit to a trail report this weekend? Come on, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I usually don't do this, but this is interactive. Thank you, David. You're the first one. You get a prize. Um, but anyway, so thank you guys. Please, please, please leave a trail report. This is massively important for our community to stay up to date. I will give you a quick example of the steps to do a trail report. Simply tap the orange button, select the date that you ran. I'm just going to hit the 18th, the time. I was out there midday. My vehicle, Larry the Land Cruiser, and it was open. I was out there just earlier today. It was open. Select that. Okay, really important to know. My garage down here, right here, you can see it. Um, please add your vehicle there. It's a great way to kind of scrapbook memory, your vehicle, adding mods, etc., etc. I got Larry the Land Cruiser in my garage. I selected that. Now I move on to next. The trail was open. The trail was normal, maybe a little dusty. It was pretty dusty out there today. Um, it was easier, honestly, than I expected. So I'm just gonna put easier. How busy was the trail? It was just us. It was just us, meaning I did have three other folks with us in individual rigs. So I'm gonna put just us and then add photos. I don't have photos that I'm gonna add today, but simply trail was in great shape. Exclamation point. And then submit. I was actually there this morning, so I'm gonna submit this. And then the trail report has been shared. So the 530 plus, please, 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 this weekend, go out, have a fun adventure on a trail, either a familiar trail or a new trail, and then leave a trail report after you went on your adventure. Now, I'm going to back out of this card and I'm going to move over to the next tool, which is the offline maps. This is super critical. And if anything, I would say this is one of the number one features that I would almost require all of you guys to get very, very familiar with. So I'm going to simply tap offline maps right here. Okay. And now I'm going to select the area. So let's stay in the Beauty Bay region. And I had a little camp zone that I had set up. So I'm going to create a new offline map by tapping that orange button and then the region that I want to be in. So you can see as I move my cursor around, it's basically selecting the area of the map that will be within the offline tile. You have low, medium, high resolution. If you are curious about the satellite imagery detail, you can simply look to see what the zoom level is and what you can clearly see. So for me, generally speaking, I typically use a medium resolution offline map because that's going to show all the detail I need, especially with like some like kind of sharp turns or saddles that might have a few different trails splintering off, but I don't need much more than that. So I'm going to simply name this Beauty Bay, BB for short, scouting mission, because that's what we're doing today. I am going to select this area. And now this is where it kind of gets tricky, okay? I'm going to save it here. I'm going to hit the save button. And that was instant, okay? The Beauty Bay Scouting Mission area was created and saved to your account. Instant. A couple things to note is number one, it will automatically sync to your mobile device. So once hit, I got it, it's gonna save to your account, so you don't have to recreate that map, offline map on your phone. However, I do want to say if you are making a map on your phone and you might be outside of really, really strong Wi-Fi, it might take a second or two to have that map fully download. And this can be a problem because if you are assuming that that map has been saved and then you go into that region, you lose cell signal, and then your map is super pixelated, hard to see detail, and you're like, Andy, what the heck? Your offline maps suck. Well, probably not. Probably the issue is that you started to download the map, but it did not fully download. And so in that case, you would not see this green box. This green box, that tells me that I am good to go. So kind of simple, kind of silly, but for offline maps, I'm always reminding myself green means good to go. So in that case, I'm going to quickly jump to my phone so you can see how I'm going to make the offline map on my phone. So we're on my phone now. I'm going to go into that region right here. I'm going to make a new map. And now look at this. See, I have a few maps from previous efforts that need to be either resaved or re-downloaded. That candy cane that you see on my map right there, that candy cane outline is telling me that that map has not been fully downloaded. So let's select the Beauty Bay. I am going to resume because I paused that for the sake of the demo. And now you can see that that map has been fully downloaded. Now, in the case where you're like, well, Andy, what do I do to fix maybe an older map, like this map right here, that you see the candy cane around the Chinese Gulch area? I'm gonna tap the outline of that map, and that's gonna bring up Neargate. And I am going to simply click that. And it looks like I had a map fail in the back. So I'm just going to delete that guy. But now you can see that I have resolved that candy cane outline. I have resaved that offline map. And what does green mean? Everybody in the chat said green means, come on, chat, good to go. All right, I love it. You guys are fun. Okay, let's go back to my desktop. Okay, thanks for playing along. Back to desktop. So if you have any other questions about offline maps, I could cover that in a little bit later as a recap. But we're going to move on now to my content. So one of my favorite things about our product is the ability to organize all of the content that you've created. So whether that's waypoints, so you're on a scouting mission like I was earlier for a camp spot or a location for a video shoot, or you want to go fishing, or if you're on a multi-day trip where you are starting to map out fuel stops or dispersed camping, and you find a little notch in the trail where you're like, this is going to be a great place to pull up the rig. You can begin to organize all of that information in the My Content by leveraging folders. So as you can see, I have a bunch of folders here. And my buddy Mike, I was building a trip with Mike a while back, and I had a whole bunch of information that I wanted to share with Mike. Ironically, I built a route at Beauty Bay to show him, and then a few camp spots along the way. So all of these look to be hidden. So I'm just going to simply go unhide, 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 and let's get back up into the Beauty Bay region. So now You can see the map or the route that I built for Mike. I simply built this route to show him where the camp spot was going to be, a few places that we were going to scout it out, and then I simply just saved that route right into a folder. And then in order to get that folder with the waypoints and the route, I simply clicked share, and it pulls up a share link. And what's great about the share link is it is shareable via text message, email, and you, as the folder owner, can share this out, and that folder will be the master folder for the trip's plan. Now, let's say Mike, who's the recipient of that folder, might be joining a day or two later, or might have to get off the trail sooner, and he wants to organize and leverage the folder for his own purposes. He can make a copy of that folder, save it to his account locally, and then add or delete anything he needs, and it will not disrupt the master folder. So sharing, we are increasingly making the sharing component of our product way more user friendly. So that way, like what is the saying? Sharing is caring. Off-roading is a group activity oftentimes. So we really want to encourage you guys to be sharing the plans, the coordinates, the waypoints with your buddies, with your pals. And yeah, additionally, you can see that if you are recording a track, you can save the track in a folder. If you've marked an area, which I can show you how to do in just 1 minute, that can be saved in your folder as well, lines as well. So I'm gonna back out of this really quickly, and I'm gonna abruptly jump over to the tools menu, okay? So I'm gonna zoom in back to the Beauty Bay area. And I'm going to show you guys how to make a route. So we're going to start here in the tools section. I'm hovering over build a route. This is a super simple and oftentimes can be too easy, and that's not a bad thing, tool that can help trip planning really come to life in a quick fashion. So let's just say I want to get up to Mount Coeur d'Alene. I'm going to start a route here, and I'm going to simply, oops, yeah, here we go. I'm going to simply start the route. So I'm going to back up because that was a bit clunky. Let's just discard that. I'm back here. I'm going to tap build a route. And then to start building a route, simply tap and drop your first point. So that's kind of your anchor. Now I'm going to say, let's go up to the picnic area, Mount Coeur d'Alene. And did you see how that line just snapped to the trail? It's that easy. So if you are building a route or either a single activity route or a multi-day route, you can go through and stitch together the best route that you think is available to you. And then let's just say, hey, Mike, here is the picnic spot. I don't know. That sounds like a good route name for me. And then you can decide the color of the route. So let's just say blue for the sake of demonstration. The style, so if you want a solid line, dashed line, or dotted line, typically I do a dashed line simply because it's easier for me to follow when I'm in the field with my device on my dash. So I'm gonna do dash line, and then the weight of the thickness of the line, I typically just go as thick as possible because if my phone and the mount is bouncing around, I just want to be able to see it quickly with no distractions. And then before I hit save, like I had mentioned earlier, if you want to add that to a folder, you have the ability to do that right after you built your route. And then let's just say, Mike, check this out. And that route has been added to that folder, as you can see. down here. And then I'm going to hit save. As simple as that. Now, let's go to mobile really quickly, and I'll show you how to build the route on mobile. So we'll back out of the offline maps and let's go to 1575, which was a trail I was on today. I was on a few trails. So I'm going to simply press right there, and then you can add a several things, routing to here, which I'm not going to get into just yet because there's something coming, and I'm not going to get into that just quite yet. You can navigate, you can add a waypoint, or if you just long press, and I know it's probably you're probably like, Andy, what did you just do? I simply pressed on the map with my pointer finger, held it for a second, and then the quick pop-up comes up, add a waypoint or build a route. So I'm going to simply tap build a route. I have my starting point at the beginning of 1575, and I'm just going to simply find, I'm going to go all the way to right. Oh, let's discard that. That was not good. Let's try this again. Build a route. I'm going to go up to the camp spot. Oh, this is fun. Well, it's not working. What do you know? You learn something new every day. In theory, though, that route would just snap right to the trail. There you go. Just being a little finicky. Now you can see it snap, boom, boom, boom. If you experience that, simply instead of trying to go the full distance, sometimes mobile is a little bit more finicky than desktop. But if you're having trouble and it's just is snapping straight and like, wait a second, that's wrong, back it up, do what I did, try to troubleshoot, add a couple points for it to start recognizing the trail, and then you are off to the races. And you can do exactly what you did on desktop, select a color, blue, weight, etc., etc. I'm not going to save this because I have probably 30 routes saved on Beauty Bay, which is a bit obnoxious. You guys don't need to do that. While we are on mobile, one other thing that oftentimes we get questions about is like, well, what if I just want to go out and like run a trail? I don't really need to like build a route. I don't really need to drop a waypoint, but I want to like either know where I went or have a record to share with a buddy or a pal. Simply tap go and track. And this is tough because I'm not actually driving right now, so you're not going to see this happen in real time. But this is based on your GPS signal. And I'm going to simply hit record track. So it's going to take me to where I live. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to end that. So that way you guys are not going to try to TP my house. Because my kids' friends absolutely would. But if you want to try to TP my house, that's fine too. I don't blame you. But so you can record a track, you can have some fun with that. It's going to be really, really important for you just to, in general, be able to like one, know the range, how far down the trail you've been, if you're concerned about fuel economy, how much you have left in the tank, etc., etc. The other piece I want to show you while I'm on mobile before we jump back to the web map is the different views of the base map. So my base map right now is set to 2D. All right, there we go. Set to 2D. I'm going to simply select 3D. Probably one of my favorite features is the 3D map. So you're on 2D, it's flat as standard, and now 3D, and you can really get a fun view of the mountains and the terrain. And it's a really great opportunity to kind of gain some extra perspective on what's around. You have the satellite. Some folks like to have the hybrid view with the topo lines. and others just simply want the topo map, which our topo base map is quite beautiful, if you ask me. And then from there, you have the ability to select snow imagery. That is simply, oops, let me go back to satellite. That is simply a layer that is added, and then it's not actually showing you real snow level, it's just a layer. And then I'm going to toggle out of that, and then recent imagery. Recent imagery, and I'm going to get into now some membership tiers. Recent imagery and private land information are two of our features that the elite membership level gives you access to. So what recent imagery allows? Actually, I'm going to scroll. I'm going to move back to the web map because it's a bit easier to share. So we're going to go, we're just going to stay in this Mount Coeur d'Alene area. Down here at the bottom is your base map. Recent imagery is going to show you kind of a weather trend over a 2-week period. So for this to kind of come to life, I'm going to scroll back a ways into winter, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with how it's pulling in kind of the weather data in detail. So as you can see, the further back I get into winter, the more snow layer it's starting to show and the snow level. And this is super important because if you are in an area that has the opportunity to get a lot of weather, like up in North Idaho, Montana, or I mean, kind of anywhere, Colorado, Utah, and you are curious about where the snow level is, using the recent imagery will give you a really great perspective on kind of what the trail condition is looking like, depending if you are concerned about washouts or water levels with the snow runoff. You can use this information as well. But that is not the only feature that we have in the elite membership. Like I said, the private land data is also available for elites. So if you scroll down, I told you we are going to talk about the private land layer. So I'm going to toggle this off to give you a perspective of what you would see if you are not an elite member. And so now you can still see the map. The map looks great. There's a lot of information, but you're missing private land parcel information. And why this is important is because, especially where I live, or if you're curious about camping or you're planning a multi-day trek, knowing where you can legally have your vehicle, both recreationally driving down a trail, but also peeling off and you want to post up camp for a night or two, knowing that you are on public land is super, super important. So you can see here all of the different kind of names or entities that are associated with the private land. And then you can see where the public land begins in this area. So it really, really, really important to have that information. Again, you will still be able to see National Forest distinction, BLM, all of that is available to you. But if you want the extra detail or information, private land is your best friend. Now, before we wrap and move to giveaway, one other thing that an elite member would get is elite pro deals. We have partners, best in the industry, discounts ranging anywhere from 10 to 20 to 25% off of some amazing products. So if you're in the market for a new winch and you're like, well, man, I don't know if I can justify the cost. And, I really want this really great mapping software with private land data and recent imagery. Well, one purchase of the Warn winch and the discount that comes with that purchase might offset the cost of the elite membership altogether and therefore justify the cost. So if you are curious, you can go to our website. You can start diving in to see what different kind of partners we are running deals with. This list is constantly growing. So if there's a brand that you wish we had a partner with, but you don't see them yet represented on this list, they might be in the works. So check that out. And then before we wrap, my garage, I would simply ask you guys if you got spare time and you're playing around, add a vehicle or two to my garage. What this really helps with is it's a one more tool to help filter your map. So if you have multiple vehicles that you like to recreate with, and they're different types of ride types. So moto, and you really need the single track option versus seeing a bunch of 50 or 60-inch trails, or in my case, the full size trails. You can quickly filter that based off of the vehicles you have in the garage, which, hey, who doesn't love a scrapbook of our prized possessions? I know I do. But before we get to the giveaway, I'm going to quickly see if there's anything that you guys, any major questions? No, no. All right. You guys look like you're pretty happy campers. So, who wants the giveaway? Raise your hand. Boom. Let's go. Okay. Now, moving on to the giveaway. We are giving away 10 of our best hats, and I get stopped. It's not the white one, not the white branded one. It's our OG. So you do not have to have a paid account. You do need to have an account though. So we're giving away 10 trucker hats. Stay cool this summer. Dunk water. I mean, I'm literally dunking water over my hat out on the trail. You will be notified tomorrow if you have been selected. So please keep hitting that refresh on that email. And if you did not get an email, I apologize, but uh, good luck. Anyway, hey, it was really great to have you guys tonight. We have a ton of educational content on YouTube. This will be on YouTube tomorrow. We have a ton of great content series out there. So if you're looking to veg out, crack a cold one, and enjoy some content, go check it on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are all over the place, quite literally. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Stay cool out there and hope to see you on the trails soon. Be good.